Hi everyone, my story is long, but I feel like the details are important to understand how creepy this was. So, this creepy encounter happened about 10 years ago when I was 17. While taking a course in Tamarindo, Costa Rica. I'm originally from Canada. It is important to note that before being sent to Costa Rica to take a month-long language course, that not only was I wild, irresponsible teenager with no regard for my safety, but I also started dabbling in recreational substances, cocaine, and whatever was given to me. And by the time I was sent to Costa Rica, I had a pretty serious drug problem. Anyway, so I had been staying in CR for about 3 weeks at the time. I was supposed to be going to class daily, which I did not do. I spent most of my days sleeping off hangovers, and every night was spent with my friends from school at the local clubs on the main strip in Tamarindo. Clubs in Tamarindo closed down anywhere between 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. We, my friends and I, would usually head down to the 24-hour bar on the beach after the clubs closed. This 24-hour beach bar would be packed with tourists and locals, all pouring out of the clubs and onto the beach to continue drinking. Here's where my story starts. It was probably around 4 a.m. and the club I was at had closed down, so I made my way to the beach bar with the groups of people. Most of them I didn't know. I was already pretty drunk, just chatting with people and having a good time. Drinks were still flowing, I felt safe enough. Eventually, a local man, probably in his mid-30s, sparked a conversation with me. We chatted as best as we could, but he didn't speak much English and I did not speak much Spanish, so eventually he asked me if I did cocaine, which I replied to yes, I did. He took out a bag of coke and began feeding me sniffs with a plastic card. I must have done about 15 or 20 bumps. As soon as I'd sniff one, he'd be preparing a second one. Keep in mind, at the time, I'm a very petite 17-year-old girl, weighing about 95 pounds. I must have looked completely out of it, because then a friend from my school approached me and told me he wanted to make sure I got home okay. I remember thanking the local coke man and saying I was going to leave. Even though I was out of it, I could sense he was angry that I was being taken away. But he said goodbye and let me leave with my friend. To get back to our school from the beach, you have to walk 10 minutes on a dirt path through a dense forest, like you're walking in a Costa Rican jungle in pitch black at night, no lights at all. So my friend and I are walking through the jungle back to my school. I am completely out of my mind, coked up, and I couldn't walk anymore. I spotted smoke clear in the trees. I told him I had stopped to lay down for a bit, so we went about 20 minutes laying in the bush clearing, staring up at the top of the trees, listening to the leaves brush against each other. The morning birds singing their songs. The sun was coming up now. Finally, when my coke buzz died down, we got up and continued through the forest towards the school. Walked another 10 minutes and we had finally arrived at the back entrance of our gated school. We used the key fob to get in, then closed the back gate, which automatically locked behind us. My friend and I sat on the ledge near the back door and talked for another 15 minutes, until he decided to go up to his room for the night. I decided to lay myself into a hammock to finally fall asleep outside. The hammock I was laying on was right near the back door, maybe 20 feet away. I remember closing my eyes and feeling myself fall asleep, and then I heard it tapping on the fence of the back gate. I lifted my head up from the hammock and I was surprised. It was the coke man, the local guy from the 24-hour beach bar. He completely caught me off guard. My mind was racing. I couldn't understand how he was all the way at my school now. Being the naive teenager I was, I smiled at him and shook my head no politely. I think I rambled off something about being tired. He motioned for me to unlock the back door and kept waving me over. I had a terrible pit in my stomach. I smiled politely and again I told him I was tired. Then through the fence, he takes the baggie of coke out of his pocket and showed me it, still waving me over. Now remember, I was an idiot 17-year-old who didn't care about life. When I saw the bag of coke, I slowly got myself up out of the hammock and slowly walked over to the coke man. I laugh thinking about it now. He keeps asking me to come out and sit with him. After barely any persuasion, I decide to unlock the gate slowly. Just for a minute, I told him. I remember seeing the excitement in his eyes when I clicked open the lock. I opened the gate and stepped out of the school grounds. Sitting on a rock step beside the coke man, I remember as soon as the gate closed behind me and I sat down with him, he immediately started feeding me more lines, sniff after sniff until I couldn't see straight. I remember not being able to move my legs and feeling very weak. Probably wasn't even coke. I had to go now, I told him, barely being able to form the words. Then he became aggressive. He held my arm begging me, "Please stay, I have a present for you." I could sense his desperation at this point and I was finally starting to feel like I was in danger. The desperation in his eyes is something I still feel when I think back to it. We're both standing up now and he hasn't let go of my arm. I remember thinking his hands were cold, even though we were literally in the tropical forest. Weird. Anyway, out of nowhere, the school security guard opened the back door. "What's going on? Are you okay?" The coke man immediately let my arm go, and I hopped back into the school grounds. The security guard closed the door and I could see the coke man running back through the forest where he came from. In the moment I didn't realize, but I now know that the coke man had not only started following us when he left the beach bar, but he then hid somewhere and waited while my friend and I laid on the ground for 20 minutes. When we started making our way to school again, he followed us all the way back to the school grounds. Then he waited another 15 minutes hidden, watching for my friend to leave, until I was completely alone. I don't know what he had planned for me, but I'm grateful that the school security guard came right when he did.